It's Beyond the Battlefield, and this time it's Miss Meg Jones.
Hello.
Hello, yeah. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. The brains of the operation of 360 Rehab, I heard.
Brains and the beauty, apparently.
Yeah. So you are the daughter of Mr. Mark Jones.
Yes.
Mr. 360, but you are also the unforgotten force because he takes the limelight, doesn't he?
Yes, I'm the organisation behind it, making sure he turns up on time.
Like I said, the brain
doesn't get sidetracked.
Yeah, the brains of the operation. Yeah, when we had him on here, I just pressed play on him and let him go.
He will just ramble and ramble and ramble.
Good rambling.
Very good, yeah. Interesting rambling, but it's knowing when to rein him in is my job.
And I said to you before we hit record that you hear him talking all the time, and I think you must forget how intelligent and magical he is.
It's one of those, because I've always been around it, you almost tune out to it. So then when you sit and listen to him on a podcast, it's like, shit, yeah, my dad's pretty cool, actually.
And that must rub off on you, right?
It's quite inspiring, actually. I do find it fascinating, all the things he's done. I mean, if it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't be in this job. I guess I'm here partly because I'm so injury prone that it's pretty handy to be able to fix yourself all the time. But just in general, he's very inspiring with what he's done and the reaction, how do you word it? The effect he has on other people. And when you hear people that have worked with him and spoke to him and have been around him, it's like, I like that.
That's
that a
cool.
lot.
Because you grew up and he was probably still serving in the Navy when you were younger.
Yeah, so he obviously was in the Navy since I was born, and he started off as a chef. So yeah, growing up, I was turned into the fat kid pretty quickly. He was a chef, and he was a brilliant chef, and then he slipped across and went to PTI, went ERI, and obviously got into the rehabilitation field. So I was guinea pig since I can remember, which is brilliant when he was doing massage.
Yeah.
Became slightly spooky when he got into the neurology, and I went from having shoulder rubs to having my arm battered left, right and centre and my eyebrow stroked, so...
Amazing.
So yeah, that became quite interesting quite quickly.
Yeah. He when he was round here not so long ago, I was cooking him dinner, or we were cooking him steaks, and he was stood just looking at me. I was like, "Oi, Mr. Physio, just sit down, let me do the cooking." And then I suddenly remembered, I used to be a chef. I was like, "Is there anything you haven't done?" And then he took over. He started cooking these steaks.
Oh, he's a nightmare. So, yeah, you can never go and try and cook him dinner or try and teach him anything, because 9 times out of 10 he's only done it. He's already done it.
Yeah.
So horse riding was always a good one because he was so scared of him. I knew that was one thing I had over him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's one of those people that if he sticks his mind to something, he does it pretty well.
But we're not here to talk about him. He's had his glory.
He had his 10 minutes of fame.
He did, and he's coming back on later on in the year. But let's talk about you then, Meg. So you're 25,
26.
Oh, 26.
Just turned 26.
Still a baby though.
In denial, obviously. 22 at heart.
But you've got a cool little connection going on. Obviously, just spoke about your dad, 360. What is it you do?
So I'm masseuse by trade, but I've done quite a few different things since starting. So I came on as chief organiser, made sure he turned up to work on time, his coffee was ready, and he'd replied to his emails, or I had replied to his emails and done his accounts. And then got into, obviously found the work really interesting, did massage. And my next thing was either do I go to uni and do a degree, but the thought of going back to school killed me. So instead I went out to Detroit and did a course in functional biomechanics, which was absolutely mind-blowing. Fascinating.
That's the Gray's Institute one?
Gray Institute, yeah. Gray Institute, that's the one. So you go into the auditorium and you realise that everything you ever learnt about the body is true in a sense, but isn't how it works in function. If you were only ever to lay on a bed and never move, then you're perfect. But obviously people tend to do a little bit more than that in their day-to-day. So it just transformed everything I ever thought or knew about the body and function and movement. And it all kind of sparked from there, really. So came back, did quite a lot of specialising into myofascial release, which is, again, really fascinating and an untouched side. You're never anyone's best friend when you bring out the tool of doom.
You and that thing.
My little spatula of...
How can something so blunt and small make so much pain?
And so gentle. I mean, the pressure never goes above like literally just gentle touch.
Mad.
Yeah, somehow I've seen grown men cry.
Yeah. So I remember, for anyone that was unaware of what it is then, so for me as a patient on the other end of it, I remember you were doing one to my foot once, and I was making all sorts of noises and not in a happy place. Sweaty hands, just thinking about this.
Sweaty palms, and it messes with you.
And you then switched to, I think, my leg to go, I'm only pushing this hard. And I was like, much like everything you do in 360, I went, I don't believe you. I was like, you're not. You're fucking digging into it.
There's a common theme.
And it's just mad how this tool can just find the fascia of the muscle.
It's so clever. And I think fascia is one of those structures where it's not really understood fully. The best way to describe it is a gel-like spider web that just covers everything. Plantar fascia is commonly thrown around. So you can kind of get an understanding of that. But when you realise that this single tissue just holds everything, and it essentially sticks to the muscles, trapping nerves, restricting movement, causing disgusting amounts of pain.
Yeah.
So you use the tool to obviously flash over, find it. But the results are incredible. Yeah. I mean, if you don't mind me saying, you came in with back pain and we didn't even touch your back. It was straight to your feet. So it's clever stuff.
Always on the feet. And that's it with a lot of people, isn't it? That pain site's not the problem site and that.
It's a funny one. I think you forget that your feet are the first thing that touches the floor. Your feet are pretty much always in contact. So if they're not happy, everything else is going to have to work so much harder. So your feet are cool.
That was really eye-opening for me, like with hip pain, back pain, all that sort of stuff. And like working with you and your dad, looking at like my walking gait, how there's like heel strike, midfoot, toe off, how the foot lands on the floor, and if it's just not functioning and moving, and the ankle's not moving, there's just a kinetic chain of shit up the body,
basically, and it will just spiral its way anywhere and everywhere. So it's
so is that a common theme to go after someone's foot?
So personally, obviously when it comes to the approach in the clinic, Dad's is top down. You start with the brain, you work your way down. And mine's foot up, so you're getting both angles. So you do eventually meet in the middle. But yeah, you always start with the foot. If the foot's not working, something else is going to have to compensate. So yeah, first thing's foot, then you check hips, then you check spine. And everything else in the middle will kind of show itself through that.
And it's got to be good, right, when you see results. Like you see with me, obviously you spent a lot of work with me, but getting results with people and seeing them function again and start to move.
It's pretty cool. So I had a guy in this morning, and he won't mind me saying, but he came to us a year ago, and the plan with him was to stop him from having his leg removed. So he came in, the surgeons wanted to remove the leg. Wow. So knee down, it was meant to go. And it was one of those where it didn't sit right. It felt like there was something, not simple, but something that was being overlooked. And albeit a year of myofascial release of exercise, of all sorts, he came in today, and our new goal that we've set for the next year is to get him back playing golf. So he's mid-80s. And today we had to go through the biomechanics of the foot for the golf swing. So that was a pretty cool one to realise just how far you'd come.
That's from going from amputation to
back playing golf.
Obviously a lot of work has to go in there. You're not going to fix that overnight.
Oh god, like it's been a year, and don't get me wrong, it's been a long and frustrating year, because obviously the approach that we have is a little bit different to Western medicine as such. So you're not battling doctors and surgeons, you're just coming across as a clinic that's trying to contradict them, which obviously not everyone likes. But the fact that we've had the results that we have, and it isn't just me, it's Dad, and he's been going for bits and bobs elsewhere, having a little bit of exercise work, but knowing that you're a part of that, that's pretty special. Well, that is life-changing. Do you know, I've not told you this, true story, I had a conversation with your dad on multiple occasions about chopping my foot off. Seriously?
Yeah.
Don't think you'd have suited a stump.
When I was a few years ago, when I first came in the clinic and started doing the work, I had a conversation with him, because lads had it done in Hasler. A couple of lads had their lower limbs chopped off, and I was at a stage where, my ankle was just so fucking bad.
That bad.
And I said to him, what I trusted him. What do you think I should do? He was like, not fucking chop it off. But I was at the point where I was considering it. I was like, I think this needs to go. So, that's again, we get to a low point and you're like, oh, fuck this, just take it off.
Funny what you go for, isn't it, at the low point?
Yeah.
It's one of those where so many people come in and they are at like the deepest depths of a dark pit, and it's like, how the fuck are you going to get them out of it?
Yeah, I know.
And you do sit there some days like sweaty palms, like, shit,
Yeah.
what am I meant to do?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, like when you get the result and it's still there, so
it's doing all right.
Pretty chuffed for that, yeah.
We're getting there.
I'm sure they felt like they were going to fall off multiple sessions.
It's do you know what? I've just come to I've accepted that when I've had like conventional treatments before, I've spoke about this in podcast one with your dad, that I flew to Italy, I saw specialists or chiropractors, osteopaths, physios, doctor, surgeons, you name it, every single therapist possible to try and I used to be held together, and I would always relapse, and that's the thing. It's like I was lazy as well. I wanted someone just to
get the magic wand
and click me and I wouldn't do self-help. I wouldn't mobilize. I wouldn't stretch. I wouldn't. And that's when I got involved in strength and conditioning. And that's when I sort of started getting involved in like biomechanics and learning about my body and paying an interest to it. And I was like, that's quite cool, this. But I think too many people do want to just be fixed like that. And it goes with like what I do as well, like health and fitness. You've got to put the work in. Like, I can show you what to do and tell you what to do and help you. And much like you have manual therapy, like with the tool and the massage and that.
Yeah.
You have to then go, like you showed me loads of stretches, right? You showed me one the other day, that glute stretch.
Yes.
I was like, oh, never knew that. That's brilliant.
Every day is a school day.
No, it is. I was watching you do it and I was going, no, I know how to do that, Meg. And then I did it and went, oh, fucking hell, that's good.
It's the little tweaks, isn't it, that gets you? But yeah, that's the cool bit when you know you've done something good. Yeah. I was thinking, I remember the day you first came into the clinic, actually, because I had to take you through the brain screen. And I remember sitting you down, because I hadn't met you, I don't think, at this point. And I was like, I want to take you through the brain screen. And you went, you what?
Yeah.
I was like, the brain screen? I was like, just go with it.
I was going, my ankle hurts.
Yeah. And I think you said that about 4 or 5 times, like, it's my ankle. I was like, just bear with me, please.
Yeah. Do you know there's a guy I sent to you actually last year, and I had a conversation with him, and I think he had knee pain, and I said to him, like, because he was a client, and I said, how did you get on at 360? He was like, he said, it's fantastic. He said, I was like, okay, what do they do? I pretty much knew some of the stuff you would have done, doing the screening and everything, and he said, well, they were. He was tapping me here and clicking his fingers here, and he was showing me lines and he was showing me crosses. And I was like, okay. And he goes, I just don't get it. I went, you don't need to get it. I said, how's your knee? And he went, oh, my knee's fine. But the thing is, I didn't get it. And he went back to that again. And I was like, he's just missed the bit where my knee is fine. So he did it again, and he went, because he just couldn't understand it. And I could see this guy wanted to understand it. And he's going, but he was doing this around my head, and he was tapping me. And I said, how's your knee, for the second time? No, my knee's fine. And then he went back again, and I had to stop and go, stop. Your knee, who's been hurting you for 10 years, and now your knee no longer hurts you. And it was like a light bulb moment of like, oh yeah, so fucking hell, don't worry what they did. They just did something.
It's so funny. We get it all the time. Like people come in after, we generally have a process where if you've had pain for longer than 6 months, you go in for your assessment with dad, because you've got the full, not just the biomechanical, but your neurological assessments, brain screen, whatnot. Anyway, so they'll come into me generally for their second session, and you go, how are you feeling after your assessment? Yeah, really confused. I don't get like lines and tapping. I was like, yeah, but how are you feeling? Oh yeah, like I'm sleeping better, and I feel lighter, and I'm less argumentative, and my pain's reduced, and this and that. And if I didn't understand it, I was like, just focus on that bit.
Yeah, because I get it, because I was there as well, and it's people want to. Perhaps like a massage, a traditional massage, you're going to get touched.
That bit hurts. Treat
that
bit.
Yeah, exactly. So if that's hurting, and I'm paid you money, but you're working here, it's like, dude,
you're at the wrong bit.
It's because it's unconventional. I think it is. Like, I've never seen anything like it. I know there's other places that obviously do this around the country, and I know your dad speaks people he speaks to across the world and that. But I said to him, it's because it's unconventional, and I don't think it's like. You haven't got to sell it, but I suppose when you're speaking to someone like on a call, I suppose you can't go, well, we're going to tap you and stroke your eyebrows and bop you on the nose.
But the first question people always go for is, so we heard it's a little bit different. So, what exactly are your qualifications?
Yeah.
And it's, well, there's X, Y, and Z, and there's this, that, and the other. And, but we're going to look at this.
Yeah.
And they want to know that you're not just full of shit, basically, and that you do know and you can back it, because the reviews are always, you know, it was completely different, it was odd, they never touched the knee and the knee was a sore bit. But
at the end of the day, it's about results. It's like what I do. Can I get results? Can I get results out of this person? Like, I'm not going to say by any means, but can I get results? Yeah, I can. Can you get results? Yes, you can. So again, go back to my guy with the knee pain. You're good. You don't really have to understand it. Probably with the stuff that you guys do, they're better off understanding what you do from a biomechanical point of view and how you move. Like, you might talk to them about nutrition, some stretches, some lifestyle. Let your dad just do all the cool stuff, and then kind of let you do the stuff where you actually need to know this.
Yeah.
Watch this
Remember
stretch.
this.
Yeah, you need to do this movement.
I think it's quite good for me as well. I've got the smug part. By the time they've got to me, they're so bamboozled. They're just taking everything I've got to say.
Yeah.
And they'll understand it, or they're able to understand it, because they already know that it's going to be a little bit more out there. It's going to be a bit different. So, yeah, generally by the time they come to me, it's
Superb.
much easier.
Superb. So let's go back then. So did you say you used to horse ride?
Yes.
And then college and whatnot, and straight into doing this sort of stuff?
No, so I went into the ski season. Which was probably quite a part of it. So I don't know if I've mentioned, but I'm incredibly injury prone. I must have been dropped on my head multiple times.
No, I know about this. Was it last year your ankle doing a squat with someone on your back?
No, that was this year. That was this year's ankle. There was zero alcohol involved whatsoever, nor me trying to prove a point that I shouldn't. But
in fact, I just done some squat work with you and shown you a few ways to squat differently. And then you went and picked someone up and squatted with them.
Well, I started the programme and I was absolutely loving it. I was 8 weeks in, seeing the best results. And no offence, Dad, who had trained me up for years and years and years on how to lift since I was about 15, 16. But starting this programme, I was like, shit. I think the first week I'd done it, I turned around and I was like, Ollie, you're not giving me anything. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough.
Yeah.
But strength PB's going through the roof. That my squat was, unbelievable, like ridiculously strong. So fast forward to a weekend in Croydon, a few too many tequilas. Thought I'd show off my strength and try and squat one of my friends, and managed 9.
Good.
Went to run my victory lap.
Yeah.
And stacked it. He went over my shoulder, ankle ruptured, and we're back to square one. But luckily, I'm ready to start the programme again. And
that's it. I'm accident prone as well. I'm the sort of guy who would just walk down the street and then just hurt something doing nothing. Like classic, just trip on nothing or stumble on something, go for a door, just bang your shoulder off it. That's me all along.
It's just the constant waking up to new bruises, and it's the point of, where the hell does this come from?
Yeah.
I've got no story for it.
Yeah, I'm just really heavy-handed as well. Like in the kitchen, like Portia's always like, just calm down. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm unloading the dishwasher, but I'm just like clang, 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 clang. Just everything's just fast. That's me. That's my life, though. Everything's just like aggressive and fast.
100 mile an hour.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that, and that's good in some ways. But it's like it also has its negatives. But it's like in business, running this, it's like I want to do something, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
If I want to go and do a sporting event or row, I'm doing it. I'll just do it.
Do it properly. Just do it now.
Yeah, just go for it. But that's it. I mean, it's like one of the things like being in the Marines is we used to say no cuff too tough. So you just cuff it, just wing it, just go for it.
Yeah.
And I just all my life I'm like, just do that all the time. But then like,
what's the worst that's going to happen?
No, and that's it. But that just makes me too fast, and sometimes just like
I think
my approach.
It serves its purpose, doesn't it? Because sometimes if you don't like take a jump and actually try it, you won't do it. And I mean, you will fail things a few times, and you will cock things up and get it wrong. But if you can cuff it and see how far it takes you.
But that for me, from a coaching point of view, it's made me realise, certainly since I built Warrior Wellness Movement and started coaching. By the way, do you like my sign?
I keep eyeing up the sign. It looks class. It's really good.
It's vinyl. I should give the company a plug. I've forgotten what they were called.
Yeah.
They're the ones that did your sign.
Oh,
an Exeter.
Yeah, I know exactly who you mean.
We'll find them and tag them. I can't remember the name of them. Anyway, but it's great.
We'll get there.
What was I saying? Can't remember. Yeah, with coaching, with Warrior Wellness Movement. So sometimes, certainly in the early stages, and even like coaching in like as a PTI in the Navy and whatnot, because I've got that fast approach of doing stuff, when someone doesn't do something, I'm like, what are you doing? Just do it. Like, drink your water. Just do it.
It's not difficult.
I've told you to eat this amount of protein. Just do it. And I know that's like really arrogant, but I have to step back and go, right, okay, no, we need to look at other ways to do this, because I'm so used to just like, go there, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Go and do that, yeah, I'll do it. But when you start coaching people from all different levels, it's a learning experience.
Well, you're working with people from different backgrounds, aren't you?
Yeah.
Different. I think I know I'm the same. I think, well, I wake up in the morning and make time for this, make time for that, get to work, make time for everything else. And it's one of those where it's like, well, if I can do it, why can't you do it? And I'm the same. Dad's the same. Where I think when you work in this sort of job and you're trying to make change for people, it's, well, if you want to make change, you've got to do something about it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, let's take weight loss as a classic example.
Yeah.
A lot of people come onto my program, want to lose a bit of weight. They know they need to eat less and move more. It's like that classic saying. So in theory, it's easy, but practically, of course, it's more difficult.
Yeah.
We get that. And that's why I put coaching strategies in place. That's why I use Hazel, nutritional therapist, Will, cognitive behavioral therapist, me. So we've got like a different attack from all different avenues or angles for someone to take a little bit out of this, and you find out because people tick in different ways, don't they? I suppose it's when you've got someone as well and you're doing some movement patterns with them, if they're not getting a certain move and you're trying to bend them some way.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, I've watched you do it. You're very patient.
I do try. I'm one of those where I'm very patient when it's with other people. But if I can't do something, I throw my toys out the pram with first try. I think I must have driven Dad mad the amount of times we've gone mountain biking and I've not been able to do it. And it's get off, throw the bike, sulk, strop, get back on and try again.
Yeah, nice. I used to be like
but
that.
yeah, I think when you're working with people, you've just got to be able to give them the time and almost try and get into their head of why they can't do something.
Exactly that.
Because it's easy for you to sit there as a therapist or as the coach and be like, well, come on, like, get on with it. Whereas,
do you remember you asked me the other day, you were with someone with a deadlift in the clinic and I was waiting to see your dad.
Yeah.
And you couldn't, like, you were like, you'd probably gone through every option of like, what? And you went to me, how would you teach a deadlift? And I went, imagine you're pushing your bum back against the wall. And he went,
you just did
and
it.
He just did it. So you just need sometimes a different way of saying it.
Yeah, which is why Warrior Wellness is so good, because you've got all of those angles. So even if, one of you can't get across to your patient or to your client, there's always something that can bring them back in. I found that fascinating.
Yeah.
I think when I started the program, food was a big thing because I just love my food.
Yeah.
And it was like, I need to lose a little bit to be able to gain a little bit of muscle and to get where I want to do. I needed to up my cardio because I wanted to get fitter for mountain biking, hiking. Where was I off to? I had a hiking trip or something.
You're always
planned.
away.
I know. Someone's got to do the holidays, haven't
You're
they?
always away.
I had some hiking trip of some sort. Spain or something.
Yeah.
And I needed to get my fitness up for that. And it was even having the nutritional kind of tips and how to make swaps, how to change things, how to track things was really good for me.
Biggest one for most people, I would say, is protein. I've never seen someone come onto my program and go, oh, you're eating enough protein.
Yeah.
It's just so common for people.
So hard as well.
It can be, especially for us blokes, we're bigger. Oosh. But you ladies should be pretty easy to get in, maybe with a supplement as well. But
yeah, and it's knowing what to eat and how to eat properly, because I think food's a massive one for a lot of people. And there's so much stigma around food and even talking about weight and all that sort of stuff. And knowing how to eat the right food, knowing how to cook the right food is a big one.
One thing I say to people when they come onto my program, I say to people, you know what's healthy, right? You say to someone, adults come onto my program, I say, that a pizza is not as healthy as a banana, right? So just a stupid analogy, and they're like, yeah, it's like, right, so we know what's healthy. So it's trying to teach them, take away some, debunk some myths of what people might think from some garbage social media channel they're watching, and try and just give them like normal nutrition. And they say to me, what do you eat? And I'll list off a few things, and it's not particularly exciting. I try and keep it varied. I try and keep my vegetables really high. I hate cooking. I don't hate cooking. I just can't be asked to cook. Portia's really good at cooking. But like for me, I always say to people like, right, vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, onions, mushrooms, asparagus, peppers, none of them, well, mushrooms might need cooking, asparagus, but we're talking like 3 minutes. Peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, avocados, things like that. Onions, don't need to cook them. Just chop them up and stick them on your plate. If you don't like them, you've got to think of something different. Or you can maybe put some oil over it or something, some olive oil. But I think that's how I look at basic nutrition. And then it's about getting your protein up. Can we get it through good sources, through meats, through poultry, through fish? Hidden proteins that we don't really think about that are in foods like, carbs and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then look at healthy fats. I've already mentioned avocados, oily fish, nuts, oil, things like that. And then it's about eliminating ultra high processed food, and it's about limiting maybe some refined foods. Limiting, not completely removing. And there we go. I've just given you a massive nutrition lesson in 30 seconds. If you can take that and put that into your day and go, well, I can have this for breakfast and I can have that, and it's in theory easy. And then you got Hazel doing my new advanced nutrition.
Yeah.
She can then start talking about gut health. She can start talking about imbalances, deficiencies and stuff like that, which is why I brought her in, because I'm like, yeah, I like that stuff, but it's not my baby. I like the coaching, the running, the strength and conditioning of it. So nutrition should be really basic at a basic level. And then, of course, water, getting hydrated, because I've never had someone come onto my program and they're hitting loads of water.
No, the amount of, so we do blood testing in the clinic, and the amount of people that go, yeah, I've drank loads today, I've done a good couple of litres. Well, what have you drank? Oh, tea. I'm like, no. Tea is not going to hydrate you. No. Coffee is not hydrating, nor is Red Bull.
No, that's it.
But being able to have those conversations with people, it just makes such a difference. It's how they feel as well. Yeah,
100%. And when I coach it, I'm coaching myself as well, because I'm like, shit, I should probably drink some more water today. He says with a cup of coffee there, but it's true. And the other one is, I find that people say they drink a lot of water. You go, how do you know that? Oh, I've had a couple of glasses today.
Our boost glass.
Well, how are you tracking it? You got to have a system in place. It's the same with like protein. How much protein you've had today? I mean, I like to think, even at my level, I go at the end of the day, fingers and thumbs out, and work out, have I had enough protein? Which for me needs to be probably north of 160 grams a day at least for the sort of training I'm doing.
Yeah.
At least I'm quite big.
Oh, I guess you're doing your rowing as well, aren't you? You're preparing for that training.
I'm not tracking it as I get others to track it, because I'm past that stage. I want people to be at that level, go through like food tracking at a really basic level to understand what's going into the body, to allow me to see it. So on the app, we can see what they're doing. But the end goal is not to have someone tracking food for the rest of their life, because let's be honest, no one wants to do that. You might do, I don't know. But it's to ingrain those habits. And when you get someone tracking food, they suddenly go, oh, and they start learning, oh, that's got a lot of protein in it. That's got a lot of whatever in it. So people start to learn just by tracking. And my goal for everyone, I've got people on my program now that are 7, 8, 9, a year in, and they don't track food anymore, because we've taught them how to get out of that trap.
It's understanding those basics, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah, exactly that. And it's the same with water and whatnot. So do you track food?
I used to. I did when I was on the program. I was getting really good at it, and it got to a point where I knew what I needed to eat, knew roughly how portion sizes. Although we don't count pasta in portion sizes, do we? We don't speak about that. But I got to a point where I don't feel like I need to be so on the ball of physically tracking, but it's knowing, have I eaten like good whole foods? Has it been varied? Is there a little bit of colour in it?
It's a really interesting tool. No one's ever tracked. Like, I've only done it once or twice, in my time, but it's really interesting to suddenly go, I mean, when I say tracking, by the way, you don't necessarily have to use an app like MyFitnessPal. I'm talking
calculator.
Yeah, I sometimes just go pen and paper, old school, and you start working out, and you're like, flip it out.
It's just making sure you're getting all the right things in as well. Because I think when you're tracking it, you can start to see what you're putting into your body, and it has a massive difference. Like I said earlier, on how you feel, because you get it in your training, you feel better in yourself. You're able to get out of bed in the morning without feeling like you've got to drag your carcass with you. But it's a pain thing as well. When people are in pain, they eat so much crap, and sugar feeds the pain receptors. So if you're not getting good whole foods, good balanced diet, getting good amounts of protein to repair your muscles, and good fats for your tissues, and like I said, getting your water in to keep the blood flowing, keep the lymph moving, you're gonna feel like crap. And your pain is going to get worse, your body isn't going to feel better, and you just get deeper and deeper into that hole of
And I've been there where when you're in a shit state, I know you're not thinking, oh, let's eat some good food. I'm thinking, I'm buying a 4-pack of Stella.
Get that Cadbury's in now,
well, all
with
that,
a bottle of wine.
Yeah, exactly. but it is, and I've been there where you just go for coping mechanisms, whether it's alcohol, sugar, something to give you, because when you're at a low point, it's very difficult for someone to go, well, just start doing this and eating better food, because you're just like,
a handful of spinach will solve your problems.
Yeah. But if you can get your head around it and get out of that low point where you're starting to come up and go, right, I need to make changes, because everyone will get there. People at an absolute rock bottom low point won't come onto my program because they're not ready.
No.
They're at an absolute low point. You need to have kind of started to climb out of the pit because you've accepted and you're ready to go, right, I need to make a change.
It's one of those, isn't it? And you no one can help you if you don't want to help yourself. And you see it in your job, we see it where we are. You can give people all the advice under the sun, and you can rattle on for ages about what you need to be doing to, make yourself a healthier, better person. But if people aren't ready, which a lot of people aren't, they're not ready to face what they actually need to do to get out of it.
That's it, yeah.
So that's where psychology comes in really well, because you've got, is it Will Petty?
Yeah.
Really good psychologist, very good psychologist. But to be able to get people on side and help them when they're having a bad day, just to understand that there is a way out. You don't need to be stuck forever.
But that falls, so he falls under the cognitive behavioural therapy bracket. So that's another reason why I brought in an extra pair of hands to go, right, it's all very well me giving someone all these tools and saying we need to be doing this to get to X, Y, Z, but then he can go, here's a different way, and use his expertise to use cognitive behavioural therapy in a way to start ingraining good habits, to start reinforcing things that we're saying, and that's really powerful in terms of getting people out of that pit, so to speak.
You said something, you've said it to me a while ago, and I've seen it on some of your videos actually recently, and it was about you don't need motivation, is it determination and habits, but being able to build in those routine, that was it. But even if you are, or especially when you are in a bit of a hole, you're in a slump, trying to make yourself motivated is never going to happen.
Routine and discipline.
That's it. Routine and discipline was your words.
So if you can build discipline, and I say this quite openly on my social media, it's like, I'm not motivated to train most of the time.
6 o'clock on a cold winter's morning. I don't want to be at the gym.
No, absolutely not. But if you've got routine and you've got discipline, and these are all buzzwords, right? Because you've got a goal.
Yeah.
Because you've got structure, you've got purpose, you've got fulfillment, all these things. It's true. If you've got something you're trying to achieve, rather than just, this is why, right? People go to the gym and people are, they're okay, they're content, and that's cool, but they won't ever be anything other than that. And I'm not saying they have to, if that's where they are and they're happy. But to excel at something or to better yourself, to be a better version of yourself, you need some sort of goal. Now, that doesn't have to be to run the London Marathon or climb Ben Nevis or something. It can just be, I don't know, whatever's relevant to you. It might be
Stop breaking your ankles.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be like just body shape, body image, body positivity. It could be weight loss, weight gain, muscle, whatever. But there has to be something that you're heading for.
Yeah.
Long term, short term, medium term, and all that. So if you've got that, and you can build up that routine and discipline. And then I'm lucky because I was in the military, so I should have a lot of discipline just to be able to go and train.
Loads of time in your day as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've heard your dad.
All the hours under the sun.
Listen, one of the reasons I wanted to be a PTI in the Navy, because I was fed up of being a soldier in the Marines, and it was either that or disappear on the outside. So went to the Navy, and just brilliant. In the 7 or 8 years in the Navy, I literally didn't put uniform on more than a handful of times because you're just in shorts and T-shirt and just in a gym. It was brilliant.
It's not bad life, is it?
No, I was very lucky. Obviously, you were training in the working day. I mean, Royal Marines are supposed to train 1 hour a day. Back then was obviously the Queen's regulations, King's regulations now, but Royal Marines had to train in the day. That's part of your duty. It's part of your job.
It's your day, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. but so I'm lucky going back to, I've come from that background, but at the same time, yeah, you've got to find a way to build that discipline into your day. But then it doesn't matter if you're not motivated, because on the days you are motivated, brilliant. And when you're not, fuck it, you're just going to do it.
I think it pulls you through as well. When you're having a bit of a slump and if you're stuck on one of those days, you can sit back in the evening and think, well, it might not have been great, but actually I've done this, I've done that, I've eaten well, I've been to the gym, small wins, marginal gains are the ones that are going to give you proper results at the end.
And if anyone's ever dragged their arse off the sofa to go to the gym at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night, right, in the cold and the wet, and they've come back, they've never got back and said, that was a bad decision. In the history of decision making, that's never been a bad decision. No. It's always been a good decision. The bad decision is when it's then 9:30 and you're like, fuck it, I should have gone. And then it's the next day and the next day and the next week and the next month. It's been a year. So it's how you get someone to go, let's just go. Let's go and do something. Let's start making positivity and positive changes in your life.
So good ones. Dad's always told me you never miss a Monday. So, or if you train on a Monday, the rest of the week's easy. Yeah. So we've got, as we told you about our vintage athletes, Oh, brilliant. You've got to be over 80 to join. It's a very exclusive club. So they come in every Monday for their training. They've all got matching T-shirts, they're vintage athletes on the back. And they're 10 o'clock every Monday morning. And not a single one of them misses a Monday.
Yeah.
I think our best one, he was 92, he was. And yeah, every single Monday, 5 to 10, at the door, ready to go. I think, do you know what? Fair play. For someone that had never trained in his life till he got to 86, joined in, and
There we go. What a story.
it's impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah. Never too old to start.
Never too old to start.
Never too old. Excuse me. What do you get them doing?
Oh my God, everything. So I had them in
Therapies.
this morning. They kill me off with a round of boxing. So yeah, it's how to feel really shit about yourself is when you're being pounded by an 85-year-old. Coffee on hand, ready to go. Yeah, everything. Yeah, like we said, we do boxing. They're on the bike, the backwards walking, they're lunging, always training in 3D. They are cool. When you get them deadlifting 24 odd kilos, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
They're a strong group of blokes actually.
Yeah.
They put me to shame on a daily basis, but
Superb. I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it?
again, this is inspiring, isn't it? I think we do get a lot of people that come in. 30 seems to be the age range. When you hit that slump of, I'm getting old, I'm aging, I'm this, I'm that, and the other, I need to retire from sport. Thinking if George can do it at 92, you can shut up and do your exercises.
Yeah. But that's what I like to promote now is like in my 40s, fully aware, like when I get to that age, I want to be doing that class at yours.
Yeah. Oh, you'll be there, you have your name waiting.
Yeah, but I want to be able to do stuff. I want to be able to be functional and be until I possibly need help. We're all going to get there. And again, I talk about this in my socials. People think they're old before their time.
Oh, you see it so much. I think COVID was actually had quite a positive impact on quite a lot of people because it gave them the time to be able to throw themselves back into something they've not done. So we have seen a massive shift kind of since COVID, and the vintage athletes, we've never been fuller. So they're all coming in, piling through the door for their training, which you'd never have seen.
So that's for anyone watching this. There's your calling card. If you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s, start moving now. Yeah, because you can keep going and going and going.
Well, you look at when they first came in. So when George, bless him, started at 86, we used to laugh. We'd sit and have our coffees outside the clinic in the morning, having trained, and we'd watch him every morning going round, and his dog was dragging him off. He started training, and within 6 weeks, we caught him one morning marching upright, dragging his dog around the marina. It's like, that's pretty good. But no, 86, and he'd never trained in his life, never done anything, and within, it wasn't long, about 6 months, he was deadlifting 24 kilos. He was on the bike. There was nothing he couldn't do. He got his life back. He could play with his grandkids. He could go back on his trips and his holidays. And as having that new lease of life, late 80s that's pretty good to be a part of, actually.
Amazing. Yeah, I love that. What's so where do you want to go if you're like you're super young, you're still a baby? What do you want to do?
More of that, please. Do you know what? There's so many directions I think we want to take it. It's quite a tough one actually to sit and think, isn't it? We've always had our end goal of having that clinic where no matter what you've got, we can help you. So we've drawn out multiple pictures of this beautiful big super clinic. It looks gorgeous, best coffee bar you've ever seen. So that's going to be a big one, I think, to have a centre of rehabilitation where no matter what you've got, there's help for you somewhere. That's a massive goal, I think, to be able to create that.
That'll do.
Yeah.
We'll take it. We had one of my guests on a previous podcast was Nick Goldsmith, and we were speaking about going through like rehab in the military was great and it wouldn't knock it, but also there were so many parts missing that was so fundamental to holistic health going forward. Obviously what he does with his bushcraft stuff. Yeah. I do here at Warrior Wellness Movement, taking people with holistic health, what you guys do at the clinic. And although these are all obviously private, independent businesses,
to come together and have something.
There's something there for sure. Anyone watching this with deep pockets, get in touch.
If anyone would like to invest, our numbers are at the bottom.
It would be cool though. I mean, like the facilities in the military are fantastic, but it's looking back now going, there was a huge void there. Yeah. There was a lot of physical rehab and there was a little bit of mental health support. But there was, I don't know, it was too much of a factory. It wasn't.
Yeah, a bit more of a conveyor belt, wasn't it? I think there's one centre in the world that we found, and it's the Red Bull Centre out in Austria, and they've got obviously all for their athletes. So there's still a set sort of person that could go there, but they have got everything, no matter what it is you need for whatever it is those athletes need, that is there. So to be able to create something that's accessible to everyone, no matter what your background is, what your age is, whether it's sport or whether you just want to be able to play with your grandkids or pop some plants in the garden. I mean, that'd be a really cool thing to be able to offer people.
Yeah, and I think for the people that I would want to attract, and who we probably attract within our independent businesses, are people that obviously are broken. They don't have to be completely rock bottom. They need to want to have some help, whether it's physical, mental health, injuries, whatever,
nutritional,
eating. Nutritional stuff's massive, and I think what we certainly try and offer is, like I've spoke about it earlier, how to make things simple for people to achieve.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this like all singing, all dancing programs. It's like getting the basics right. I mean, I know what you guys do is super advanced, but I people that get attracted to me have usually suffered some sort of trauma or adversity. Where are you in your life in terms of, have you had to come back from any setbacks?
Yeah, so, I mean, you would never know it now, but I think when going back, I was 14, 15 years old and severely anorexic, like tiny, to the point where I had to sell my horse. So it was a big problem, obviously. But yes, just, I don't know, getting out of bed was difficult. Being able to have the strength to stand up and get dressed in the morning was a point where, God, it was impossible, both from a mental perspective, but even like a physical one, being able to hold your own weight up was ridiculous. And I remember it was one day, I think I'd been told, I'd gone to the doctors and they'd, given you your bollocking of, well, why aren't you eating your food and why aren't you doing your exercise and everything that we'd say to everyone else. But I just felt like I was being put down on everything. Everything was a negative. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? 14,
15?
I think I was about 15, going on 16.
School.
Yeah, still at secondary school, about to sit my GCSEs. I think all my teachers had told me I was going to fail because lo and behold, I wasn't in school. And it was just a constant, like, I just feel like shit. And I had that little moment of like, when you've had so many people like giving you negatives, it's like I never want anyone to have to go through that, where you just feel so rock bottom. And you realise how powerful people's words are and the effect they can have on your day. Like a couple of little sentences out of that doctor's day.
I call them throwaway comments.
Exactly.
People just say it and it's just, for them, it's just it doesn't mean anything. But to you, it's like, fucking hell. Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what he said, but it obviously wasn't great because it struck a bit of a nerve of, God, if I could, make people feel better about themselves, to know that, my words have had a positive impact and been able to lift someone up out of their day. I wanted to be able to do that. And it was, how would you word it? It kind of gave me that moment of like, I want to do something that's going to have a positive impact on people's life. And for me, the thing that got me back and moving again was exercise. I mean, it was brutal, don't get me wrong. Dad would drag me to the gym and just absolutely beast me to the point where I was physically, again, couldn't move, was screwed. But I'd go home and I'd have to eat and I'd have to do something in it. And it gave me a reason to get up out of bed in the morning and to get up and to do something. So I kind of had that moment of, I want to have that positive impact on someone else's life, and to know you've done some good, to know that you've helped them when they couldn't help themselves, or when they had it but couldn't quite tap into it. That makes sense?
It does. It's amazing. Like, you never know someone's background or past, and
that's the thing, you never know what someone's going through, do you? So you never know what your words or your throwaway comment is gonna do to that person.
It's massive. And it wasn't till I was in a situation of adversity and rock bottom that it taught me that, like, someone would say something and I'd just burst into tears and I'd just be like, it completely wrecked me and made me worse. And until that point, I was strong and I was mentally and physically capable, and I didn't give a shit what people said. And now I suddenly became this sensitive soul who just But
would go on a
yeah, and just because someone just it's made me completely different to how I operate as a father, as a partner to Portia, just to be completely different in my approach to how I coach people, because it's like, no, you can say shit that hurts people.
That really gets people, doesn't it? I've had a point then. I was going, oh no, it was, I remember people would just kind of give you negative without even realising that they'd done it, because that was a day job, wasn't it? And it was one of those things where if you can just be nice, you don't realise how much of an effect that's going to have on someone's day. Like you really don't know what a couple of nice words could do to someone when they're at their worst. And as humans, we've got a pretty good way of hiding it.
Yeah,
Sarcasm works.
I'm very forgiving at the moment, like sort of at the moment as I've got older, because if I try and avoid confrontation, right? So if someone, I don't know, I can't even give you an example, but say it's road rage or someone's rude to me or something, I like to think I'm very, the old me would have been like, fucking what? But now I'm just like, he's probably having a bad day.
You don't know why.
Probably having a bad day. Like, I've made some terrible decisions and said some terrible things because I was at the point of fucking breaking. So you just act on emotion all the time.
You're just straight to that kind of stress response, aren't you? When you're stuck in that fight flight, you're straight on the attack, aren't you? And you don't have time to think about what you're saying or how you're saying it, because it can be as simple as how you've worded something, can't it?
It's not what you said, it's how you said it.
It's how you say it.
But it's and as we alluded to earlier, it has like a massive effect on like pain in the body. And like, I know at times of stress, things just start hurting a bit more.
It's our first question when people are talking about their pain. It's, what's your stress levels like? 9 times out of 10 people go, what do you mean? What about? I'm fine.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah. But I had this in rehab, and it took me a long time to realise. I went up to Headley Court, which was the military rehab centre at the time, and I had people say to me, they didn't say it like this, but it's like how they said it.
Exactly.
They were basically saying that the pain is in your head. And I'm like, the pain is in my fucking hip and in my ankle and in my back. It's not in my head. But what they were trying to say was it was this stress response that I was having was causing, but that wasn't the best of how they said it. But it took me a while to realise that you can, I'm a firm believer, you can make yourself hurt. If I focus on my knee long enough, I reckon I can make that hurt.
Oh my God,
just direct pain to it. And it's the same. So when you start, if you like me, hip, back and ankle, if I get a little bit of it's having a bit of an off day, if I'm stressed, it'll fucking hurt.
That off day hurts.
Yeah, but if I'm having a great time, it's like, it's all right.
Don't really notice it.
Yeah.
I think that's why your exercise and your movement's such a big thing. And we're always really keen to encourage people to get back into a sport or to try something new. It's because no matter what level of pain you're in, if you're doing something you're enjoying, 9 times out of 10, you won't actually feel it. Obviously, your chronic pain's different, but when people are in kind of that mid pain where it's not killing them, but it's not nice. If you can get them to move, you can get them to do something different, take their focus off and concentrate on something that they're actually enjoying. Like you were your rowing, like you're smashing it out the park.
That's not enjoyable.
No, not at the time. Funny to watch.
Yeah, but this is why, certainly in the military, they do adventure training. They do things like, again, in rehab, I always go back to that. They take you off to a climbing wall. You go and do something adventure training wise, just to do some exercise and movement that you're then not thinking, shit, my ankle hurts because you're halfway up a climbing wall.
Something novel.
We went out on the water on paddle boards, like down in Plymouth and things like that. Just fun activities. Yeah. So again, like, I'm not suggesting people have to go and do those activities, but that's why if you're able, go out walking, go and walk through on the beach with no shoes on. Just go and do something that's
into
like
the woods or something different, something that will take your mind off and distract you enough to get a little bit of joy back.
Indeed. Going back to nutrition then, so do you still have any, if I may ask, do you still have problems now? Because to look at you, you're in great shape.
Stop it. No, to be honest, it's pretty good. So I think when I first went on the programme and it was about tracking calories, back when I was quite ill, I think my personal best was about 200 calories in a day. And it was pretty minimal. So when I thought tracking calories, it was a bit like, is it gonna shock me? But no, I've found it quite helpful because you know what you're working towards, you know what you're putting into your body, and it's more of a mindset thing of if you're trying to actually nourish and help your body, you're trying to get to somewhere, you've got a goal, to know what you're putting in, I think is really important. So no, think relationship with food is very different to what it once was, which is good, because that took a little bit of overcoming.
Yeah.
I think the best worst piece of advice I ever had from a dietitian was, it was not very difficult, just have some calories. Cake, have a cake. This was coming from a rather large woman, and my very, very cross, stressed out brain thought, I'm not taking your advice.
That's crazy.
It was, you get some funny advice from people when they're not, when you're in a mindset that's completely different to a rational mindset. You're not able to process things very well.
I've said this before, it's like going to an alcoholic, just stop drinking.
Yeah, it's not difficult, is it?
Yeah.
Just eat cake.
It's not good advice.
Yeah, I remember coming away from it. Mum goes, what do you think? I thought, yeah, eat cake. Go on, we'll have a whole cake. Shall I have 2?
Carrot cake.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Coffee's got less calories in.
Oh, right, okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm a carrot cake kind of guy.
I do love a carrot cake. Sticky toffee's the go-to, though.
Yeah, like it. Yeah. What about training then at the moment?
Training.
We need to get you back involved in this, don't we?
We do, yeah. So I had to come off it for a little while because of another injury.
What was that one?
That was the one we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that was the
wasn't it?
ankle, or the
That was
squat
a
incident.
severe training accident,
Yeah,
as we could call it.
But I introduced you to the on the minute, every minute, 8 reps, didn't I?
Yeah, killer.
Savage.
Absolute killer. I've never limped so hard out of a gym than
Great,
after doing
isn't
that. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you don't enjoy it at the time, but you're glad when it's over.
So when I wrote my Warrior Evolution program, which is 13 plus months of training for people that come into my program, they start with the initiation phase, they go on to the ascension phase, the elevation phase, the summit phase, all these weird and wonderful names, but they've all got purpose to them and what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
We look at conditioning, we look at building somebody up, we look at strength, we look at hypertrophy, so muscle building, and then we look at, like, again, back into conditioning, but trying to keep some sort of strength element. So what I just said to you happens in my summit phase, which is usually about sort of 7, 8, 9 months into the program.
Yeah.
It's a savage workout. Now, I like to get to people to that stage of training and then say to them, you would have never done this 6, 7, 8 months ago, which is not a long time really when you look at it, because I've built them up through stage by stage. So you can't just get the untrained and do what I just said on the minute, every minute. But when I write when I wrote the program, and I'm always tinkering with it as well, I made sure that I tried like every session, because I'll go and try it in the gym and just go, fucking hell, that's good. And then I'd tinker with it a bit, or I'd go, well, I can't give that to people. That's ridiculous. No. But I built a program based around the compound lifts of a deadlift, a front squat, a squat, a bench press, doing on the minute, every minute, 8 reps. You start as an opener, and then you go into the accessory work after that.
Yeah, that was the killer. I thought I trained pretty well, but until I came to the gym with you.
Yeah, we did
day,
on squats, didn't we? Yeah,
that was a killer. Yeah,
I
think I stalled my car 4 times trying to leave that car park.
Is that after you were half hour late? For the 3rd or 4th time. Yeah.
I was fashionably late.
Yeah. Classic Jones.
I was going to say, that runs in the family, that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That and babbling on for too long.
No, it's good. So what other, you like your hip thrust, don't you? Like the booty?
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done it on that.
It's killer.
Yeah.
Absolute killer. Yeah, no, I have my friend doing that, and she called me a lot of names. None of them were nice.
On the bar or the machine?
On the bar.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
No?
It takes too long to set up.
The machines are pretty good. Just adding.
Yeah.
Doing them recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Machines are the way forward. Just strap the belt in.
Oh, see, they don't have that at my gym.
No.
Yeah, we need to get one of those.
Yeah, you need to
Invest
go to a
in
good
one.
gym.
It is a pain.
Yeah.
It's the bruises you get afterwards.
Yeah, there is
on an
that.
already clumsy person. Look like a zebra.
Yeah. What other training are you doing?
So I've got getting back into routine. It's not particularly been there over the summer, but 2 strength, 2 circuits. And when I can remember to finish work on time, I do try and go to spinning. But
What's the circuit? One you make up yourself or a class?
So Dad runs his old kind of military style circuits. There's no way near as fun when you've not got mirrors and Marines everywhere. It doesn't have the same effect. But no, we've got a pot of coffee waiting for us at the end, so that drags you through it pretty well.
Early morning sesh?
Early morning brutal circuits. Yeah, it's killer. Press-ups. What is it with you all obsessed with press-ups?
It's military, certainly Royal Marines. If you can't do press-ups like a million times over, you're going nowhere, because you spend most of your life in training in the press-up position. So get good at press-ups is the advice to anyone joining the Royal Marines. Pull-ups as well.
Yeah, I did 3 of those once, and I've never done one since.
I did 3 of them once. There you go. There's your goal. We need to get you back on.
Okay, we did try. Can you not remember you nearly threw me through the ceiling?
That was on a banded pull-up. Yeah, I might have given you a bit too much assistance. Yeah, but I didn't realise how light you were. Yeah, it's just like shoulder pressing you.
Yeah, I went flying. That's
Yeah.
another one to add to my bruise collection, that.
Ladies are a good one for saying I want to do pull-ups, and I think that's a really good goal. It's a good benchmark of strength, being able to do a pull-up.
It's a cracking conversation starter as well.
Yeah. How many pull-ups can you do?
3 once.
Yeah. But I would always say to anyone, like, obviously start with a banded. You can have the band going across, or you can have the band hanging down. But then you've got to do your accessory work. So just lat pull downs, seated rows, dumbbell rows, anything that's pulling. As long as it's in a structured program, it'll get you stronger. But
yeah, no, I do need to get back onto the program. That was good. I did really enjoy that. Made training enjoyable for once.
yeah. With what as a goal though?
I like, we do a lot of hiking and mountain biking holidays, so to have stronger legs is always a go-to. Stronger. So yeah, to get that sorted. My friends have attempted to teach me surfing this year.
Do you know what? I've never been surfing.
It's a cracking spectator sport. Anyone sat on the sideline with a pint and some popcorn would have a right laugh.
You're going to Morocco, aren't you?
Yeah, Morocco over Christmas. So
Are you good?
Am I good?
Yeah.
Do you want my real answer? Natural. So no, I do.
Actually, given how clumsy you said you were, probably not.
I can get up, but I generally fall straight back over the other side. So I do need to get a little bit of upper body strength going, because at the moment it is abysmal. It's not good. But because I obviously have my ankle injury, so my entire summer's training has been to get my ankle strong enough. Because I spent 2 years rehabbing the other ankle.
Can't your dad just fix you? Just get him to tap you and do stuff to you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wears off when you get so many injuries. You're constantly going on at him in the evenings.
Does he treat you? Seriously?
We go in and out of stages of it. So when either of us learn something new or go on a new course,
check this out.
Tons of treatment. Funnily enough, when I did blood testing, Dad did not want to be guinea pig for that.
He's shocking with needles, isn't he?
Awful.
Yeah.
So
I thought I
funny.
was bad with acupuncture when you stuck needles. Do you remember you did my back and I was like, I was all right with that.
Yeah.
But then you did my quads and I was like sweating.
Eye-watering, isn't it?
I just couldn't face looking at you sticking and then pinging and flicking the needles.
Oh, see, I'm crap with needles when they come near me. So when I did the acupuncture course, you had to put your arm on the side and rest there. And he's like, right, until everyone's put a needle in themselves, you're not touching anyone. God. I sat there for 10 minutes. I sobbed. I sweat. I got up and did a lap around the room, came back in. And 10 minutes it took me to put a needle in my own arm. But after that, I was okay. But needles near me,
Why'd you flick him?
There's
Apart from
different
just to piss me off.
fun.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different reasons. So depending on what your acupuncture background is, whether it's medical acupuncture, which is what we do in the clinic, or your traditional acupuncture, there's different ways of triggering the muscle. So you're looking for what's called a twitch response. So you pop the needle in, you get a short, sharp spasm, and then the muscle will relax. So you can twist it to essentially wind up the muscle, would be what you wind it up to relax it.
Like this.
Yes, it's good for you sometimes.
Do you know what I worry? When you were sticking them in my quads, I was really worried about tensing my quads and like snapping the needle or something, or leaving it in there. When it's in the back, I couldn't see it. I was absolutely fine. I was just led there and I was like, oh, have you taken them out? And you were like, yeah.
Yeah, done. It's when you can see it, isn't it?
Yeah,
the worst one is when you're doing rec fem, so you're coming into there. And what a lot of people forget is that rec fem is essentially one of your hip flexors. So they'll lean over to look at it, and in doing it, you're firing up at it. You've had some cases where the needle's kind of popped itself up and out, and it's never fun to be around that one.
Maybe after what I said to you earlier about my hip, maybe I'm going to have a bit of needle action in there.
I think we may need to take a good look at that one. Get it sorted. Taller doom out.
Cool. Well, Meg, we've had a good innings. I've loved talking to you. As always. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'd love to have you back on again. But for anyone who is interested in what you're saying, 360 Rehab, Exmouth, Devon, beautiful venue, isn't it?
It's really pretty.
On the marina,
right
especially
on
in
the
summer.
marina.
Yeah. One of the good things I like about when I come to you guys is I park further along the seafront, so you get that nice walk along the front, and then shoes off, walk along the beach on the way back, do a bit of grounding. But yeah, it's a fantastic place, and you've really got an incredible knowledge, and I love seeing you because you're, like I said, you always bring something different to the party. Try this, try that, and it's fantastic, and you're always learning. You're a young pup with so much to give.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So listen, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me. Really
We'll
enjoyed
see you again
it.
soon.